you're paying a company for that insurance. So it is your right to ask, hey, why did my rate go up last year? And is there anything better for me this year? And especially if you had any changes back to one of our original conversations, if you've updated the kitchen, if you added a new roof, if you're looking into solar, all of these are reasons to reach out and touch base. Rate increases are not necessarily a terrible thing as long as they make sense.
Are you ready for a successful retirement? We're addressing the topics facing today's retirees. Welcome to Retire with Ryan. Now here's your host, Ryan Morrissey.
Welcome back. This week, I'm continuing my interview with property and casualty agent Matt Dzubin, where we talk about how to save money on your car and homeowners insurance, as well as what an umbrella insurance policy is and how it can help you protect your assets. And here's the rest of my interview with Matt. So what are some ways that you can save money between your home and auto? How can that be done?
Yeah. So, in terms of savings, that's paramount. And that's what all this marketing is. We're surrounded by insurance marketing. So there's lots of different buzzwords and discounts and savings tools. But I think the most important thing is to identify what your real insurance needs are. And that is through consultation with your insurance provider. Most companies are going to obviously provide discount for packaging the auto and the home together. And, potentially an umbrella policy, which most people, in my opinion, almost everybody should have an umbrella policy. And when those things are tied in, like I said, there's a lot of buzzwords, there's a lot of different discounts. But if you're comparing options, and it's not that difficult to compare options, I'm an independent agent. I've got about 20 different options for most folks in which I can pretty much compare those options pretty quickly for you. And then you can make an informed decision from there. But if you're comparing options on your own, there's various platforms online, whatever, where you can go and you can see what these costs are. So I wouldn't just buy into the discounting fact. You get a discount because you're a member of XYZ. You get a discount because you're a retiree. You get a discount because of this. What does that discount actually mean? What does the cost look like? And a lot of these companies have become very savvy with discounting, especially here in the Connecticut market, discounting for lots of different reasons. So it's not a one answer job for any of this, but it's definitely a dialogue that you should be having with your agent for sure.
So combining your auto and your liability. Also, from what I've experienced by most consumers, you get a really good rate, good coverage, and then all of a sudden, like 2 or 3 years later, the cost has gone up significantly. So does it make sense too then to every maybe couple of years look at this and maybe then switch to a different company if the coverages are all the same and you're not losing anything, but you're going to save on it?
Absolutely. This is something that you pay for. So not to commoditize it, but it is a bill that you pay for. And there are lots of options and lots of different products in the marketplace. So my core conversation revolves around value. What is the best value for your dollar? Not necessarily the cheapest price, but to your point, what happens with a lot of insurance companies is that if their price is really good for a sustained period of time, then they are going to be growing. And when they grow, the law of large numbers works against them a little bit because now they've taken on more customers at a lower price than a lot of their competitors. And once they start experiencing really bad tropical storms or really bad, all the stuff that we've seen over the last couple of years, and we will continue to see, when they get a little bit big, then you're going to see a little bit of movement perhaps on the insurance rates. So yes, it does behoove you to actually look at that. And I would encourage that as an annual thing, just to check in. That's your agent's job. You're paying a company for that insurance. So it is your right to ask, hey, why did my rate go up last year? And is there anything better for me this year? And especially if you had any changes back to one of our original conversations, if you've updated the kitchen, if you added a new roof, if you're looking into solar, all of these are reasons to reach out and touch base. Rate increases are not necessarily a terrible thing as long as they make sense and they're not crazy. We've seen some companies have increased rates 15% over last year. So yeah, the logical question is to ask why.
Yeah, my homeowners and auto went up from like $2,000 to almost $2,900 in 2 years. So it was like, it was time to make a change. Nothing had really changed. That's a tremendous increase.
Exactly. And so that could just be company performance. And with some of these companies, they're so big that could be company performance in Texas.
Sure. Yeah, big losses somewhere else. They have to offset. Yeah.
Exactly. Relaying itself back. And now we've got to make adjustments across the board. So it is helpful to be an independent agent in that scenario because we're not married to any one option. So it is a conversation that is normal in my world. And I highly encourage a consumer to make sure that their agent is working for them.
Yeah. You mentioned before, and I meant to get back to it a couple of times, but the umbrella policy. And for those people who don't know what that is, like, tell us a little bit more about that and how that works and why you should have that maybe.
Sure. Umbrella insurance, and there's sometimes a misnomer, a misconception as to what that is. I think some people believe that's just a packaging of your auto in your home. It's actually a separate policy. Some companies do offer the umbrella insurance and attach it to an auto or a home policy, but it is a separate line of coverage. And what it does is it sits on top of your underlying limits for auto insurance and your underlying limits for homeowners insurance. So for example, if you have $500,000 worth of liability on your homeowner's insurance, and then you have the umbrella insurance, and then you have $500,000 on your auto insurance. The umbrella insurance typically starts at a $1 million increment. And what it does is it adds an extra line of coverage, liability protection, in the event that you have a really bad loss on either the auto or the home, and adds an additional, I'll just use $1 million as the example. So now you have really $1.5 million worth of protection in the event of a really bad loss, where there may be lawyers involved and there may be lawsuits involved. If you rear end somebody or T-bone somebody in a really bad accident, somebody gets hurt or can't walk again, and you own a really nice house in the suburbs, then you've seen the ads on TV just like everybody else, or the ads on the side of buses. Injured in an accident, call the ABC law firm and we'll get you the settlement you deserve. Well, the umbrella is designed to protect you in scenarios where you're going to be up against something like that. And it's really just peace of mind coverage. What most people don't understand about the umbrella is that the cost basis is like the lowest cost basis for any insurance product. I mean, for a $1 million umbrella with many of our carriers, if you have two vehicles in a home and you wanted a $1 million umbrella, so $1 million worth of protection, you're looking at $200 a year with a lot of these carriers. So it's really a cost-effective peace of mind solution for protecting what you've worked hard to build. And we just live in a litigious society. So you just have to protect yourself in the best ways that you can. And again, relating back to value, there's a lot of value put into an umbrella policy at that price point for that amount of coverage. And consider that a lot of these companies are probably going to give you a discount on the auto and a discount on the home for having the umbrella. So your net cost is going to be really, really low, and your peace of mind is going to be really, really high. So umbrellas are a great idea. If you have not had the conversation, I highly, highly encourage anybody to have that conversation with their insurance provider.
Yeah, I tell all clients they should have an umbrella policy and make sure they at least have $1 million, some maybe more, because you worked hard, you've saved up money, especially if it's non-retirement money, right? That's fair game. I'm not a lawyer, you're not a lawyer, but I'm sure that's fair game in a lawsuit if you had a bad accident and hurt somebody. And they may even try to go after your retirement accounts as well. So it's just a way to hold them off more, to have that umbrella that might satisfy the loss so they don't even go after anything else.
Yeah. And the other thing, and I'll just make this point briefly, but there's a reality behind what happens in an auto accident, or if there's a really bad home claim. There's a reality there. And the reality is that you just hurt somebody. You didn't try to. Nobody's out there trying to hurt anybody else. But you just hurt somebody really bad, or you hurt somebody else's kid, or something happened in an accident and people die. That's a reality. And if they don't die, sometimes they get really significantly hurt where they can't walk again. And you're going to have a moral obligation to that whole incident, because that's going to shake you. And I see it all the time. And that's the reality. Nobody tries to get into an accident. It happens. And then all of a sudden, you're the one that's responsible for it. So we talk about peace of mind and protecting yourself, but also if there's an opportunity to financially make something like that, it's never going to make up for the fact that somebody's really, really hurt, but you've done them the best service that you can do by being responsible. And that's the bottom line, is that now you have coverage where you've opted for it. You didn't need to do it, but you did it. You hurt somebody, but you're able to at least make sure financially that there's some type of restitution there in an easy way.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's just a responsibility thing.
For sure. No, I never thought of it from that perspective. But yeah, definitely. And then making sure also too that you can help them and you're not going to hurt yourself in the process, right? You're not going to jeopardize your retirement because you've got to give them a large chunk of the money you were supposed to live off in retirement because an accident happened. You've got this policy that is helping them and you're still going to be okay. And
oh yeah, I mean, we've had scenarios where it's been as simple as, hey, there's 3 feet of snow on my roof. All right. And I'm worried about ice damming on my home. So the neighborhood kids are out and they're willing to go up there and rake the roof, or they're willing to rake the front steps, whatever the case may be. And then somebody slips and falls. I mean, it's as simple as that. So to be able to make sure that you have adequate coverage to protect your assets, but also you're paying for rehabilitation or whatever the case may be for somebody else. And it's just paid for. It's done. It's done. And so that's the advantage of being properly insured. Good
point. I think we'll end there. We've covered a lot over these episodes. And if someone wants to reach out to you, Matt, either to talk more about their coverage or get quotes from you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, sure. They can send an email to M Dzubin, so MDZUBIN at Dumont, DUMONT agency.com, mdzubin at dumontagency.com, or just simply call my cell phone, 860-933-0963. Again, 860-933-0963.
Okay, great. Is there any parting wisdom you want to leave? You've given us a lot of wisdom, but anything else that comes to mind that we didn't cover to?
I don't know if it's real wisdom, man. But yeah, I mean, just make sure that you're having the conversation. A lot of folks that I speak to haven't reviewed anything in a long time. They don't even know who they have for homeowners insurance. And I see it all the time. And that's okay. Because again, you're not an insurance person, but just make sure that the person that's working for you is working for you. And there is some consultation that is involved there just by asking very simple questions. You can make sure that you're adequately insured and that you're getting the proper pricing.
Well, thanks so much, Matt. For those who are looking to get help putting together your own retirement plan, or if it's been a while since you've updated your retirement plan, my retirement readiness workshops are beginning this fall. They're starting the end of September. You can choose from either an in-person 2-night workshop or an online 2-night workshop. To learn more about that, go to retirewithryan.com, and from there, click on retirement workshops. Have a great week and look forward to talking to you next Wednesday.
You should consult a financial advisor familiar with your specific circumstances before you make any financial decisions. Nothing in this broadcast constitutes a solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. Any mention of rates of return are historical or hypothetical in nature and are not a guarantee of future returns. Ryan Morrissey, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Morrissey Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.